Good morning, Nigeria, and welcome to another interesting but informative episode of Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television from the economic capital of Nigeria, Lagos. I am Henry Igwebike, and we kick off today with our newspapers, and possibly right after that will be a main conversation also for today. Do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can always reach us when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. We're very so honored to have with us, joining us right here in our studios, Obong Thompson, a good governance advocate and public affairs analyst, to see through all that we have on our newspapers, and possibly we crisscross to our main conversation for today. Good morning, Obong Thompson.
Good morning, Mr. Henry.
Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you.
Beautiful. So let's kick start this morning with the first daily on our desk. It's coming from the Guardian newspaper. We have a litany of interesting stories here. The big one, 2027 Atiku signals interest as PDP heads for showdown with Tinubu. And still on that particular front page of the same newspaper, U.S. defends in new social media vetting for visa applications. Remember, Nigerians are tasked to provide 5 years of their social media relevance just before they get visas to the United States of America. And still from the same newspaper, Tinubu seeks a stronger Nigeria-Brazil ties, inks Basa deal. Another interesting story, Southwest leads in new voters exercise as Southeast records lowest turnout. Federal government introduces mandatory ethics criminal screening for teachers. Manufacturers lament a return of FOB levy courses as there. And our talking point for today, Obong Thompson, I would love us to look at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's visit to Brazil. We can see it on the front page when Luis Lula da Silva, the president of Brazil, is welcoming him. But I'd love to ask you, what do you think, or what have you got to say about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's courage, his persona as a president? Does he really look like someone any other president would give so much attention to?
Mr. Henry, to say but in few words, the president, as a matter of fact, is trying his best, if I may say so, because since he came on board, he came with a very, very popular policy that almost strangulates his administration, but he has been able to withstand, and is gradually coming out from that shock, and you see him embarking on several foreign and technical visits abroad to meet with foreign investors and other continent leaders, and it's not quite different from the one he's visiting Brazil, meeting with the president of Brazil. But of all the visits we've been getting since the administration commences, we've not seen any meaningful, impact that Nigeria has benefited from all these visits. We knew at the early stage he visited China, and we were believing by now China would have revolutionized the railway sector and other manufacturing sector of Nigerian economy, but we still see Nigeria struggling. So going to Brazil to have bilateral relationship in area of trade and other areas, energy and what have you, is commendable, but the question lies, what will be the outcome at the end of the day? Will it still be the same visit that he has been embarking upon since the administration commences, or not?
That's very true, because I remember when he started, he went to India and promised he was going to bring back $14 billion, I would love to believe. He went to Qatar also and told us that the Qataris are equally going to come with lots of money. And lots of visits he has gone or taken to different countries, and yet we still do not see how that has impacted on the lives of Nigerians, and one would wonder, isn't it a situation where we are rather the one wasting money?
It is, because if you look at the contemporaries, how they govern their country, they are more specific, more purposeful. They hit on target. They know what exactly that the country deserve, and how to get what the country wants. But unlike our own case, he's just a normal routine visit that every president we have do embark on. We had that of former President Buhari going all around, and Tinubu, as we speak, has toured around the world. Out of the number of days he has spent, almost half
for more than half,
more than half is gone for foreign visits, and we are not having anything to show for it. Number one, how do you expect these foreign investors to come in and invest in Nigeria when there is high rate of insecurity in the country? Because security state of every country warrants every investors to have that confidence that their investment will be saved and secured whenever they come into any country to invest. But in Nigeria, we are hearing pockets of insecurity, even when the government is trying to, whine and, make people to believe that there is security. But within us, we know Nigeria is not well secured for investors to come in and invest. Then you talk about the provision of electricity. As we speak, even the government had to, as a matter of fact, procure a solar system in Aso Rock to power their daily their activities, so to provide energy for the Aso Rock. So how do you want an investor? It's a pointer in the negative direction to any investor that if a country that is lacking in that kind of infrastructure, then how come will these investors have that confidence to come into Nigeria to do businesses? So it becomes very, very unbecoming of a country that should settle down, tackle all these insecurity issues, tackle the issue of energy, and then make sure that there is a conducive environment. He, as a president, do not even need to make much effort taking Nigerian taxpayers' funds to waste on trips abroad. Once all these things are put in place, you will see that the foreign investors will queue up. They will queue up, wanting to see the president so that they can be able to invest in the country.
You're very, very true. You actually nailed it, because this is, I would love to believe, part of the reason why he had to visit Lula da Silva in Brazil, because Brazil is not begging anybody to come. So you can see our president going there to want to do business with them, because Brazil is a little bit safer. Economically, they're doing fine as against what we have in Nigeria. Very so unfortunate. But Obong, I would love us to take on another matter. Southwest leads in new voters exercise as Southeast and the South-South records lowest turnout. There is this exercise going on right now for voters to come and regulate whatever it is that you're supposed to do. If you've changed a place, you go and you regularize all of that. And right now we have it that the Southwest is leading, while the Southeast and other parts of the country records low turnout. Is it because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is from the Southwest and therefore there might be an agenda somewhere?
I think on that note, it has to do with the awareness of the people. In the Southwest and where Lagos State inclusive carries a lot of high level of literate Nigerians, on the street that or literate voters, that would be prospective literate voters, and they have been following the political system. They have the facilities, if I may say so, compared to other regions in Nigeria. You can be very sure that the Southwest has a lot of facilities ranging from the financial capacity to buy data.
Yes.
Then you talk about the electricity. You talk about the populations, and then you also talk about the effort of sensitization being carried out by various NGOs and civil organizations, and then political parties.
Oh.
They play a very huge part in political metamorphosis in Nigeria. So for them to take the lead in the INEC registration, which was opened sometimes 18th of August 2025, and then there's much awareness being created for the people. So I think for that they have taken upon themselves to get registered, both online, and then I can see couples of physical centers around Lagos and outside Lagos. You see people going,
and people are really trooping in
because people really want to make a mark in the forthcoming election.
Or is it really making a mark? Is it really making a mark, or they're trying to correct the mistake they thought they have made in the 2023 election, where P2B actually took over Lagos after and against Bola Tinubu?
I think the interests of the people have been awakened because of the level of poverty that the government of the day has plunged them into. And this has arose a lot of consciousness. People want to be out of poverty. People want, to participate in political exercises that will bring forth, good governance, to the people. They want better life for themselves and their families and their generation unborn. And if you go around the street and get the feelers from people, you understand that the people need to be, participate. And this is what is very, very key in every democracy. Participation from the people, from the masses, is very key. And for that reason, you find out that the political class will not take the electorate for granted at any point in time. So that whenever whoever emerges will know he has to work for the people and not for their selfish interests. So whatever you have seen coming around, going on in the registration process is expected. And what should happen is that the regions that are coming behind, a lot of sensitization program has to be effected in those areas so that people can go out and register for their voters card and then get prepared to participate in the forthcoming election.
Very true, because it's a civic responsibility for all Nigerians to do that. But how much of sensitization, just like Uber Thompson has said, is INEC doing to ensure that Nigerians, get on board to do some of these things? I practically learned it that there was voter card pre-registration, because I'm a journalist. I actually had the opportunity of reading it as made possible by some media organization. Then my landlord actually reminded me. So it's more of referrals. So imagine if I wasn't in the position to learn about some of these things. There are lots of Nigerians today who do not have the opportunity that I have, that don't even know that such is in existence.
That's what I talk about. The awareness is a very major factor in this whole process, and that's why the local governments and the political actors has to, and non-governmental organization has to create the needed awareness, especially in areas that they knew too well that people are having issues to have access to information.
Yeah, very true.
Because you have so many areas people hardly read or listen to news and know about what is happening in the society, and it involves a kind of passionate appeal from INEC and the NGOs to go about the various rural areas or urban centers and create this awareness through road shows, road promotions, and disseminating of this information in radio stations and other media, platform available.
Very
and
true.
Not limit. It shouldn't be limited. Everybody is handy with a phone now, but not everybody has the capacity to fund their phone with data to be able to access information.
Very, very true. And we have it authoritatively that Osun and Lagos leads as 1.3 million complete voter card pre-registration. And from the newspaper, let's just move on to the Punch newspaper just before we call it a day on this particular segment. Military retirees demand pay raise, national honor. Obon Thompson, at a time when Nigerian leaders are asking for a pay rise for themselves. We heard that the president, the ministers, and other people are hoping to see a salary increase. But here we have military retirees. Now these ones are possibly the ones that didn't have their hands and their legs, pulled out as a result of fight with insurgents. So don't you think it's needed that we should do something about our servicemen and women?
Honestly, Mr. Henry, every sector of Nigeria economy and all class of people need upgrading in their financial status or their earnings, because you wouldn't see the military man that walk through service. Render service to the nation for about 35 years, and when they were in the working environment, they earned salary that the economy was able to the salary was able to
take care of them because of the economy at that point.
Economy at that time. But now that almost every commodity has skyrocketed in the country, they can't survive under the meager salary or pension or they receive from Nigerian government. And for that reason, they are calling for a review, an upgrade review of their salary. So it's not far-fetched from what every other political leaders are asking for, or other unions are asking for. And I think with the subsidy removal and money gotten from or saved from this subsidy removal, the government should be able to strategize a way and manner that these funds can go around, for the interest and benefit of all Nigerians. Because you see a situation where the government of the day take delight in allocating these funds to only the state governors. And you understand, the state governors might not, at the public interest, be able to reach out to all the affected sector of the Nigerian people. So, but if the federal government can take it upon itself to make sure that the pensioners have a review in their take home, that will be better. It will be more better, and this set of people will be able to have a living and then participate fully in the security atmosphere of Nigeria. Because we still need these retirees, especially from the military and the Nigerian police force, in their various communities that they reside. They still play a very vocal part in keeping the security safe of those society areas saved through their intelligent contribution and leadership models they give to the younger ones. So the government has a very, very key role to play in their sustenance.
Very true, because other countries would have readily used them for other activities, like the forest guard thing that we're talking about. These were people that would have been at the forefront, either as supervisors of the forest guard team or whatever it is. There are ways we can actually, remodel these people so that they are not looking very shabby economically. But just before we leave, let us get to the Vanguard newspaper for today. We have a human angle story here. Family, Lagos hospital clash over patients' withheld remains, ICU charge. So this particular woman was her remains. I guess she is late. She wasn't released to the family because the family owed Lagos Hospital ICU charges. So a situation where someone is dead, is gone and is no more. Should hospitals still ask for the bill for someone that died in their hospital?
You will find it very, very, unbelievable that, a lot of family, because of this, accrued bills to be settled in the hospital, you will find a lot of families abandoning their
their loved ones.
Their loved ones. The corpse of their loved ones in mortuaries across the country. Is something, that has been happening, and I think there's every need for intervention from the government so that the people can bury their dead ones.
Yes.
Because you find out most hospitals will bring out circulars for people to come and claim the corpse of their dead ones that have overstayed for years in mortuary, and you find none going forward, and you see a situation where mass burial conducted. I can remember, in one of the occasions, while passing through a particular mortuary in Akwa Ibom State, I saw where a ground was dug massively, and the corpses were buried, because the owners of those corpses, the families,
didn't come to
refused to go claim the corpse of their loved ones. So I think the government and the hospital management should look into this, because the excess of keeping that corpse in the hospital will further prolong and congest the hospital facility. So the management should, as a matter of fact, broker a plea bargain from the family. If probably the bill amount up to a certain amount, once half of that is paid, that should be let go, so that the dead can be buried. So instead of insisting all the bills should be paid, and you find out that most of these corpses might come in there through accidental manner, and they might not have the family might not have the financial backbone to transport these corpses or buy a burial ground to bury these dead. So the government has to intervene in such aspect and make sure that there is a kind of understanding created with the hospital management, so that these corpses can be released for burial.
Very true, because the most important thing that we can do to our loved ones when they are gone is to give them the final rites, and one of them is give them a befitting burial. And I think that for hospitals, especially for public hospitals, if it's a private ones, then we can understand. But for public ones funded by the government, I think it is human to release this corpse to the family, so they can give their loved ones befitting burial.
See, in some cases, you see the intervention of insurance. Insurance companies. They should be able to sell dead insurance. While you're alive, you should be able to subscribe to an insurance cover that will,
so that when one is gone, the family won't have to suffer.
Whether the family has the funds or not, so far you've already subscribed for burial, fund or insurance. That will take care of it.
but our culture and our religion. Some people would not want to. When you go for that sort of a package in insurance, so many people will say you are wishing yourself.
That's why I call for the intervention of the government, in all this area, for us to have, a smooth transition for the dead ones.
It's very true.
We can't leave them in the hospital or in the mortuaries. They will be there getting the mortuary congested.
Yes, very true.
You see corpses being put upon corpses, because there is no spaces.
Very true. Defacing them and really not giving them that last right which they deserve. So we'll be right back in a bit. That's when we return. The PDP zones the 2027 presidency to South, urges unity ahead of national convention. I'll still be here with my guest, Obong Thompson. Please don't go anywhere. It's still Enterprise Morning. Thank you so very much for being back. And if you just joined us, this is still Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our main conversation for this morning. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has zoned its 2027 presidential ticket to the South, aiming to correct its 2023 mistake of leaving the ticket open, which led to both the national chairman and presidential candidate emerging from the North. This decision, made after a series of high-level meetings, also confirmed Ambassador Iliya Umar Damagum as the substantive national chairman until December of 2025. Despite internal tensions, particularly between factions of loyal to Governor Makinde and Wike, the party resolved to unite ahead of the November National Convention in Ibadan. Senator Samuel Anyanwu initially resisted signing INEC's invitation for the convention, but later complied along with other National Working Committee members. At the 102 NEC meeting, PDP leaders reaffirmed the existing zoning arrangement, retaining all national offices in their current regions and officially zoning the 2027 presidential candidate to the South. The chairman, Senator Adolphus Wabara, through Senator Ahmed Makarfi, emphasized that unity, sacrifice, and inclusivity, not rhetorics, will be crucial to defeating the APC. He called the upcoming convention a defining moment for the PDP and urged reconciliation and flexibility to strengthen the party. The NEC also directed regional leaders to micro-zone party position for swift implementation ahead of the 2027 general election. I still have with me Obong Thompson to do some talking on some of these matters and more. Very sensitive one, we would say. Obong Thompson, it is becoming a little bit dicey here. A PDP is just like the parable, or is it the saying of the cat with 9 lives? When you think it's dead, it would resurrect again. So are we expecting anything good from PDP? Because it looks like what used to be the problem is beginning to realign.
Well, you see PDP coming with the, with the surprising, resurfacing. Let me say
Yes.
because one would have thought PDP is gone and
Yeah.
gone forever.
Yes.
Coming from the expectation of the leadership of APC.
Yes.
Just like the president has said, the PDP should not expect him to come and put their house in order for themselves. That he's even happy seeing the other parties disintegrating. That is what they want. So probably by the time the PDP have listened to this president spoke, they understand the game has just begun, that they need to sit up. So it's quite commendable that they have been able to put their house in order and then, shift ground and compromise. That is all about politics. You have to compromise and then shift ground, this one shift ground, and then you see how things can move forward. And after all the effort to disintegrate the party, yet with the people like Dr. Makinde,
Yes.
the governor of Oyo State,
Yes.
and Governor Diri, and a few other governors, even Bala,
Yes.
has been very outspoken, sustaining the interests of the party and making sure that the party is still afloat. So the internal crisis that would have, bring down the fortune of the party, you saw how Atiku Kam, left PDP,
No, the PDP.
and then form a coalition with the ADC, and then you see how also the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, also having had a good time battle with his, harsh enemy, being
Atiku Abubakar.
also, he has to kind of step behind, because one would know very sure that his only handwriting is towards the APC.
APC.
He's supporting APC. So there wouldn't be any need to, still, support the APC while you're still, forming sincerity or loyalty to PDP.
I'm talking about that because you, yes.
That switch, and the PDP, as a party, has been able to understand where their position is. And that is why you see the core governors of PDP, making sure that they take off the party, leadership from Nyesom Wike, and then take it back to themselves. And that, for that action they have taken, they have been able to have the room to mobilize or remobilize and re-strategize once again, and that has given room to, having a substantive chairman Damagum, and then the secretary as well, Anyanwu.
Yes.
So that has been the short history, within the time frame. They have been able to come strong over it. They have almost 9 state, governors.
Yes, to themselves.
So that's a plus. They can go into any battle with that, and they'll be sure, something tangible will come out from them. But the perception that Nigerians has about PDP is still a very key factor.
What's the perception?
And the perception, has been created, in such a way that it looks as if, it's only the corrupt politicians that you found in PDP. Because the APC come with a slogan that once you come out from PDP and join the APC,
your sins are forgiven. So you are new.
It means the PDP.
So those still remaining with the PDP are still dirty.
You understand? So that is the perception the APC has created in the minds of Nigerians, that PDP are full of corrupt politicians, and that alone, should prove a point to the PDP. They should now come out with an identity, that they want Nigerians to know them for. And can they recreate that identity, of being, incorruptible politicians or party? That is the question I would love to see.
Well, it's a very big question there. There's so much to talk about, Obong Thompson. You did talk about that the remaining governors have seized power from Nyesom Wike, who has been a fundraiser for the party for a very long time. The aide to Nyesom Wike, I do not know who the person is now, but of course the only person when we talk about aide is Mr. Larry, the journalist who had always claimed that he's the only journalist in Nigeria who is good enough to speak, and others have no right to speak because they didn't study journalism. He said, I would love to believe that it is too late to zone the presidency to the south, which means that their intention of working for Bola Ahmed Tinubu is still very there.
Well, the zoning, as a matter of fact, it comes with mixed feelings to me, because I once said, if anything comes from, I would have rather want to see a situation where PDP will have to form a coalition with the ADC in order to tackle the APC. Because
so PDP should head the coalition.
That should be
and not the ADC.
I can rightly say with such a coalition, something tangible can come out. But if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from the south emerges,
of course, he's going to emerge now.
Of course, he's going
unopposed.
to emerge. No opposition to that. And then you also see PDP coming from the, PDP fronting a southern candidate. And then you see the ADC, Paraventure,
zoning it to the south too.
Zoning to the south or
to the north.
As we speak now,
yes,
we've heard in the news that Atiku Abubakar has the intention to contest, in 2027. So if it's zoned to the north,
yes,
then it's going to be the ADC versus the APC. And if PDP comes in that aspect, it means the vote of the South will have to be divided. So
because your permutation now is saying that we have one candidate from the northern part of Nigeria representing the ADC, who is Atiku Abubakar. If that works, and the South produces two southern presidents, it means that the vote of the South is divided. So does that mean that the North might win?
The North might vote en bloc for the Northern candidate.
Wow.
Irrespective of the presence of PDP in the North. You saw what happened in Goodluck Jonathan's time. The re-election of Goodluck Jonathan in 2015.
Yes.
So the handwriting is still there on the wall.
Wow.
It will be very, 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 very difficult to, convince an average Northerner not to vote the Northern candidate to a certain candidate.
But they voted for Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the 2023 general elections massively.
They did that, as a matter of fact, because what we had, as at then was a different ball game entirely.
Okay.
We had Muhammad Buhari, that was, almost everybody were loyal to in the northern part of the country. And they voted based on that.
Okay.
And now Buhari is dead. So who are they going to vote for? They'll have to go with the alternative in command. And when you talk of alternative in command, you can talk of Atiku Abubakar
or El-Rufai,
and which other person is there, that can Kwankwaso,
yes,
that can control the northern vote. So what you see today that will emanate in the nearest future, in the 2027 future, you see, voting going along that, line, because the northern voters will naturally, culturally vote for a northern candidate.
Now let's look at the Obi factor, because we have it even from our newspapers that the PDP is gradually wooing Peter Obi back to the PDP, because as it stands now in the southern part of Nigeria, he is the only person that they feel can attract lots of southern votes and a little bit of the northern votes, especially north central. So do you think an Obi might be a game changer?
Well, the Obi in this aspect, as times comes, and goes, the chances of Peter Obi begin to dim.
Really?
As a matter of fact, because you see what the northern, cabals are working on.
What are they working on?
Working on Goodluck Jonathan Kwankwaso ticket.
But Goodluck Jonathan has never. I think in the last time he spoke, he said he wasn't interested.
They are all politicians.
Also, he might change.
He's also a politician. So what will become of him tomorrow is what we'll now be able to speak on, the outcome of 2027 election, because you can see, the northern cabals or most of the politicians canvassing, they are making serious appeal to former President Goodluck Jonathan to coming for the election of 2027. So, but time will unfold everything for us to see, and that is the only candidate they believe can be able to match President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Well, that's a big one, because lots of things are actually happening. But right now that the issue with the PDP has been resolved, right now they have a substantive chairman and a substantive secretary. What now happens to people who have flocked to the center, like Sheriff Oborowori and Pastor Omoeno, who said that the reason they were plugging to the center was because they are not sure if they would have anybody to sign their tickets. So what happens now that there's someone now to sign the tickets? Do you think their political career is in danger?
I don't think we can't even permutate the outcome of 2027 election as we speak, because the dynamics keep changing. The dynamics keep changing day by day, and for them to have decamped and defect to APC, and within 2 months or thereabout, you see the PDP putting things in order. I think they primarily did not defect because of the fact that the PDP is having a crisis. I think that was where they feel they should belong, and that was what prompted their decision, and there they are for now. So they are enjoying the new love they found themselves, so they will keep going on with the APC. Don't forget, governance and government changes. The only constant thing in life is change. So they can also change along the line. What
do you mean change? So you mean they might come back to the PDP again? Is that what you're saying?
Let's watch and see.
Because as it speaks today, in Delta State, for example, Omagege and the Sheriff are battling for the APC ticket as we speak today. And we all know that Omagege has been there before Sheriff Oborowori, came into the state. I do not know how it looks like in Akwa Ibom, but that of Delta, that we have read. So what do you think is happening here? Do you think that those who have been with the APC would give room for the newcomers to breathe?
The state, political arena, it cannot be described, as we speak, when it has to do with Akwa Ibom, because most of the PDP guys, that moved to APC, many, and in many occasions, has suggested that most of them did not move wholeheartedly.
Okay. So they were forced to come?
They just moved because the governor wanted them to move, not because they want to move. So it's still a very key factor of what will become in 2027. So the PDP having reform and re-strategize and restructure themselves, you can see even at the state level in Akwa Ibom, you see couples of PDP, leaders, re-strategizing, and then I can see, a very good opposition, at the state level coming from the PDP.
Wow. Which of the state now? Is it Delta or Akwa Ibom?
Both Akwa Ibom, both Delta, because what would have nailed this defection would have been the performance of APC government at the center. And how satisfactory are people, with the party. So unless something urgent is done by the APC party, and then
at the center,
and both at all levels, to give the needed and the most needed dividends of democracy to the people. I think the people will not stand with them when it comes to electioneering time.
Yes, very true, because I remember Kenneth Okonkwo called Governor Omoeno a political transgender, that he wasn't sure where he belonged to in the political arena. And lots of things actually came as a result of that. Remember, he said that he was still in charge of the PDP, despite the fact that he has left the PDP. He said he will still hold on to the PDP so that miscreants, according to him, will not invade the PDP and spoil it. So it means that possibly he's still holding on to the two, hoping that now that they have a secretary that can sign for anyone, that he might still come back.
I think the comment made by Kenneth Okonkwo was unfortunate, because describing a man as transgender.
No, politically, he wasn't referring into it like literally.
Okay.
Yes, political transgender, which means you move from one party to another. You don't even know where you belong to.
That was why you see the governor telling him that, as a matter of fact, he has the freedom as guaranteed by the Constitution, to associate with any association, with anybody, that he cannot stereotype him and, phrase him as, transgenderic. So it was very unfortunate, because we understand the Nigerian politics has lasted since 1999.
Yes.
The Fourth Republic. And here we are. I believe the Nigerian system is still growing, but the only thing is that how long will they continue with trial and error kind of politics? Every political leader should be able to have focus, should have a vision, and should stand by that vision and make sure that nothing, erode that vision unless they actualize whatsoever vision they have for the people. And I also want to say that, the political class should not think about themselves at all times, but rather what is what will this bring as an impact to the people? So by taking decision, they have to consider the impact it will bring to the people. So let's watch and see what the situation will be, at the state level, if the governor is still, holding strong to PDP or not. The time ahead will, manifest that.
Very true, because in construction, there's what we call environmental impact assessment, and where you look at the environment before knowing if that road should cross here. In politics, I would love to believe there should equally be human impact assessment to know when you move, how does it affect the people that you've left behind. But of course, let's take a look at the, everything happening. Historically, we've often related one particular leader to be a political Maradona, and that's IBB. The next person that is closest in that referral is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has been assumed to be a political strategist. He knows almost everything when it comes to politics, according to people who follow him. Now, what do you think would be the biggest headache for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu with the PDP coming together in force and hopefully hoping to do damage?
Well, I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will have a very, very strong opposition if the PDP decides to form a coalition with the ADC and other political parties. In some cases, that's what is obtainable. You see the major political opposition party forming alliance with other, political parties to hostile or, defeat an incumbent political party. And that can be the only way out in this case. And then President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, having been strategizing, the only strategy, that would have worked, what we knew former SDP candidate that won the election that was annoyed MKO Abiola was for his ability to fight poverty in Nigeria across board. That singular act made him to be the favorite to all Nigerians. So the game changer would have been for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to fight poverty in Nigeria, fight corruption.
And do you think he's doing it?
Fight insecurity.
Do you think he's doing it?
Fight unemployment. Fight all manners of social vices, against the people of Nigeria. But here we are, he's strategizing in empowering the political class alone. And I doubt if at this present day Nigeria that will transform into vote for him. You know, because those political class alone can't vote, you know, for him to defeat his opponent. And no matter what, you know, it is in the country today, the Nigerian people feel the pains of the poverty they have been subjected into. So if you bring money to them during the election, I bet you they will collect that money and feel free with it, but they will vote their conscience.
So what you're saying is, if there is truly a free and fair election where nobody is connived to do something otherwise, do you think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would win, even the least person?
Well, what will become of 2027 election? I think the INEC as a, you know, electioneering body should be fully aware that if they do otherwise, the Nigerian people will rise en masse against the body. You have seen it happen in other African countries, you know. So much because of the poverty level that people have been subjected into, and they want to come out of it. They want to liberate themselves. People on the street, the average voter on the street that has the power to vote, want to vote out poverty, want to vote out corruption.
But the by-election didn't show that now.
Whatsoever you see in the by-election is not a general election.
Okay.
And it cannot be a pointer, you know, to what will happen in the general election. So if you see what happened in those pockets of places, don't forget that during the general election, you know, the security will not be channeled to only one area. So, and as we speak, we don't have that kind of military, you know, might to, you know, militarize everywhere in Nigeria. So the people will have freedom to, you know, vote their conscience. But when you have to do with, you know, sectional of state, you know, selected state, you know, doing election, you find out that what the government of the day does is to make sure they, you know, fill in that state with all manners of military presence and with force.
Very true, very true. But let's take a look at ADC now. Atiku Abubakar hopefully might emerge as the presidential ticket, as the presidential ticket holder for the ADC. But do you think an ADC would work possibly with the PDP?
Well, it's because the actors we found today in PDP, in the absence of FCT Minister Wike, I think there hasn't been tussle, you know, well known by other PDP, you know, leaders with Atiku,
okay,
or El-Rufai, or Amechi, or Peter Obi. I think the major issue there was Barrister Nyesom Wike.
Okay.
Because Nyesom Wike took a swipe into the past and saw the way and manner the PDP leaders then subjected President Goodluck Jonathan into, you know, a state of mockery.
Okay.
You know, they all did as if they supported him, but when it was the election time, they all turned back on him. You also see the incident that the Atiku Abubakar had to, you know, disengage from the party to go and form alliance with the APC then, SCN and so on.
Yes.
In order to make sure that the opposition party,
yes,
you know, ouster the president out of government.
Yes.
So those were the pains. You see the reaction that came from Barrister Nyesom Wike trying to fight back, you know, and then took over the party. And now that he has secured an appointment with the present government, and he's doing very well, you know, he's enjoying himself as FCT minister, taking almost the, you know, being one of the powerful, you know, cabinet member of the president. you can see him, you know, tilting towards APC. For that reason, the PDP are now liberated in some extent, and they can form alliance with every other political parties, and they can.
And you think the years from Wike, you know, would allow them, will allow the PDP have their way, well, without still.
You know, Barrister Yeson Wike, as we speak, you know, if not for the singular, you know, unity within the PDP that we find today, we will not have, you know, the PDP planning for a convention, you know, in November. You will not have a situation where they now have a substantive chairman and that of secretary. You know, so things are beginning to, you know, work well for the PDP as we speak, because Yeson Wike has openly said that he will only support
a southern
anyone that support President Bola Ahmed.
Oh, I thought he used to say that if the presidency of the PDP is zoned to the south, that's the only time he can support.
He cannot support
the
because
PDP.
Already we know what he's supporting. So he might say he will support, but what we found him doing today is in support of the president, and that is where his heart and everything is. So anything that comes out, if allowed by Yeson Wike, will be to make sure that he terms the PDP, you know, why he uplifts the APC to win the election.
All right, so we can go on and on this particular matter. It's still a developing story, ladies and gentlemen, and right here on Enterprise Television, we promise to unfold them as it breaks, most definitely. Like Obong Thompson has said, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would not have found it any difficult, actually, to fight the opposition if he had been doing what was needful of him. I do not think, I am not a leader yet politically, but I would love to believe that running a country sustainably is not rocket science. All it needs is that intentionality of a leader to say, hey, this is what we should do, and ensure that there are lieutenants who are there to make sure that thing that he wants to do is done. But a situation where it is becoming a little bit regional, it is becoming a little bit transactional, that's why you see a lot of people coming and routing for the opposition and hope that they will oust the president, which we think, even if it's politically guaranteed, but at the same time, you know, all Nigerians are looking for is a great country where they can pay school fees for their children, a great country where after every day's work, they can see something to bring home for the family. That's what Nigerians want and nothing else. Nigerians are the most wonderful people. We do not make trouble. All we just need is basics and hope that our leaders will provide them for us. That's just about the time we have. Thank you so very much, Obong Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Henry.
All right, people, we just have to leave it for now and say thank you for making this a date. Please do well to visit us if you may. You can find us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at EnterpriseTV7. I am Henry Igwebike, and I'll see you next time. Have yourself a wonderful day, and God bless Nigeria. God bless you. Bye-bye.